This video is brought to you by iMazing, the Swiss Army knife of iOS device management.
I bet you taste like chocolate. Can I have it for free? I'm an explosion. That smile's gonna be the end of me. I wanna say something, but you are all that I see. You got dynamite. That smile's gonna be the end of me. I bet you taste like chocolate. Can I have it for free? I'm an explosion, and that smile's gonna be the end of me.
This is the iPhone 12 Pro Max, the S21 Ultra of iPhones, the biggest phone Apple has ever made, and my choice of a phone for 2021, or at least something more interesting comes along. Now, I don't consider this a Pro device because a real Pro phone would have features similar to what Sony Xperia Pro has to offer, but I do recognize the Pro Max as a valuable tool that serves a purpose in my life. Of course, as with every piece of tech, not everything is perfect. And this time, by the way, the 12 Pro Max surprised me as to where the annoyances came to be. In the meantime, things that normally drive me crazy seem to have been fixed, which caught me off guard. But let me show you what I mean. Hey, eScreen here, but feel free to call me E. Let's see what has changed since my last 12 Pro Max video, what has annoyed me during ownership, what I've done to fix or overcome those annoyances, and what has surprised me. Alongside this video, I will be posting another 12 Pro Max episode about my setup and favorite accessories. Now, switching back and forth between the Max and the Mini, which, by the way, is another favorite of mine, has led me to some real judgments when it comes to the improved camera combo of the Max. Although computational photography is well established throughout the entire line, with the Max I can get better photos at night faster. Where it may not make much of a difference during the day, between the line of phones, the camera improvements of the Max shine at night, where light is scarce. Especially during the winter when the day is shorter and I get to be a better family photographer 80% of the time. So what I mean by that is that in many cases the Max doesn't need to stay in night modes like the other iPhones, or when it does, it requires less time to take the photo, which also has a lot more information in it. Also, the lens compression at 65mm for portrait mode is fantastic. It makes many of the portraits more lifelike and even more professional looking. Well, let me show you what I mean in this quick controlled environment shoot where we will take a portrait mode with the 12 Pro Max at 65mm and the same with a Sony A7III at the same focal length. Let me know in the comments below which one do you prefer, and of course, what was your first guess? Since my last video, ProRAW is now out, and it kind of puts the all-time favorite regular RAW format on its toes. If you're not sure, ProRAW combines RAW photography with computational photography to give you results that sometimes even more expensive Pro cameras have difficulties capturing. With ProRAW, we have a lot of room to wiggle in post and create some fantastic results. When it comes to video, if you want to know what the iPhone 12 Pro Max is capable of, watch my initial impressions video, which was shot entirely on the 12 Pro Max with a little help of the iPhone 12 mini. We all know that the iPhone is the gold standard when it comes to video, and the Max is the benchmark, especially with the stabilized sensor and the larger pixels. Now, something that was missing when we did the talking head of the 12 Pro Max at the time was something that is called portrait video, and it comes with an app named ProTake. Now, there might be others, but with ProTake in combination with a LiDAR sensor, you can now do some very decent portrait video, although it works in Full HD only. Keep in mind that this will soon become a standard and it will be working in 4K as well, guaranteed. If I was to sum up the camera combo, I would easily call it the best smartphone camera system for me, photos and videos combined, and that's exactly why I stuck with the Max this year. Unlike before, the Max is sitting proudly in my camera arsenal and wears the shoes of the quickest way to capture high-quality 4K video at 60 frames per second at any location and occasion, delivering fantastic close-up shots and even helping to put together thumbnails. There is another topic that I wanted to pay special attention to as time goes by, and that is the front glass of the phone with the new ceramic shield coating. Aside from durability, this coating apparently should be able to preserve the phone from major scratches, but the fine ones were the ones that were driving me crazy before, always making me slap a screen protector on any of my previous phones. The 12 Pro Max is the first iPhone that I carry absolutely as is, no glass protection whatsoever, and I'm stunned at how good it is when it comes to fine scratches. Over the last months, the phone has been used constantly, not only as a phone and a camera, but as a favorite toy for my children as well. Still, under the bright light, one can barely notice any imperfections. By the way, if you're interested in the custom icons and wallpaper that I use, be sure to check out my website and also sign up for my behind-the-scenes newsletter, where I sometimes send out freebies and coupons to my subscribers. Also, if you end up enjoying this video, subscribe, it's free and you can always change your mind. So, one concern I had with the Max was the sheer size, but thanks to the sharp edges, this has been a surprisingly manageable device. In fact, this is the first phone in years, aside from my iPhone 12 mini, that I am perfectly confident in carrying without a case, and it feels good in the hand. Of course, my jeans and pants are not so happy about it, and I might have problems if I wanted to assume the Captain Morgan position, but hey, what can you do? The battery of the Max is king in the world of Apple, and yet another reason to put my favorite mini on the side. It is easily almost a 2-day battery for me, and so far I can't remember a day when I had to prematurely charge it before midnight. Of course, with the big size, there's another significant advantage, and that's the display. I absolutely love the completely flat appearance. Consuming content on it is phenomenal, especially with the ridiculous speakers, but I'll use this opportunity to gradually switch to my annoyances. See, 6.7 inches is almost tablet category, where the iPad mini is 7.9, and yet we still have no use to properly utilize all this image real estate. When I am in the car, for example, I always keep my phone horizontally positioned, and I keep wondering how difficult it would have been for Apple to have a horizontal orientation of the UI like they used in the past, but in 2021. Not only that, but we still have no dual app support or real multitasking, which I think could have been implemented nicely, similar to what the iPads have to offer. Sure, we have picture-in-picture, but it only works in the supported apps, and I rarely multitask while I watch a TV show or a movie, for example. Unfortunately, the Pro Max is just a blown-up version of any other iPhone, which is sad if you ask me, and very not Pro-like. Okay, here comes a weird one. Another annoyance for me is the individual lens protrusion on the camera module, leaving big gaps for dust and debris and gunk to gather in between, and this is something very difficult to get rid of. It might not be an issue for most. And by the way, it is most prominent on the Max because the lens housings are larger. But to me, this nastiness makes this expensive premium device look awful after a while. Of course, as always, there's a solution, and that solution comes in many forms and shapes, and by many companies. The one I chose is from a brand called Spigen. It is basically a camera protector, something that I never thought I would use in my life, and normally I don't really care about, but in case of my annoyances and nasty dirt, it fixes and unfortunately hides all this beautifully designed empty space. So aside from the usual reasons for choosing an iPhone like security and the whole ecosystem, the main reason I chose to use the Pro Max is the display, first because of the content consumption and second because of typing. On many occasions when I have thoughts for videos, the phone is the quickest way to put everything down, and with the 6.7-inch display this year, it is easier than ever. The battery life, as mentioned earlier, is yet another reason to go for the biggest iPhone, not because the others are worse, but because it gives me that much more freedom to not have to look at the battery percentage. But most of all, the reason for going for the Max is the camera combo and the fact that it's an integral part of my video workflow. At this point, it is clear that the iPhone is an essential tool for me. But you know what's even better? The appropriate tool for the tool. And in the case of the iPhone, the best instrument you can have is called iMazing. It's a desktop app for Mac OS and Windows, which lets you take control of your iOS data, make time machine style wireless backups, easily transfer documents, media and content, but also dig into system files, access devices and battery diagnostics and more. All data stays local on your computer or on a drive of your choice, and backups can be encrypted for maximum privacy, which means that if you want to live off the cloud yet enjoy automation like a wireless backup, you can do that. With iMazing, you can also dig into your old backups and extract information like photos. I can also browse my photo library on the fly without having to synchronize it, which if you're using a small hard drive computer is extremely useful. iMazing supports the latest iOS and Mac OS features and is already fully compatible with iOS 14, iPadOS 14, macOS Big Sur, and M1 Apple Silicon. So you can go ahead and download iMazing's trial by following the link in the description below. So at this point, it is clear that the pro verbosity that companies are throwing around these days is mostly marketing, and in the case of the iPhone, Apple is clearly presenting only the cameras of the phone because, unfortunately, almost nothing else on the 12 Pro Max is that much of a pro. However, if we remove the word Pro and just leave Max, and we combine the cameras with the outstanding battery life, the industry-leading display, the iOS and Mac integration, the app support, it is clear that this phone is as Max as it can get. Is this Maxness worth 10% more than the smaller Pro? I guess it's entirely up to you. Until next time, this is E, over and out.